Hey everybody, welcome back. Happy Thursday. It's
Hi.
been so long. So, if you're new here, we're GovConHacks. We help government contractors cut through the noise and work smarter, not harder in this space. Welcome back. I'm your host, Ashley Dool.
And I'm Natasha Buzz. And today's episode is for anyone who's ever said, I'm drowning in work and I don't even know where to start.
I've said that before. I'm not gonna lie.
I said it this
We're
morning.
we're gonna talk about how to move away from putting out fires every day to kind of building processes that actually give you your time back. Whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a business developer, because let's face it, chaos is costing you more money, more than just your sanity. Whether that's money, time.
Well, before we jump in though, Ashley, I think we have some quick updates. So let's see what's happening in GovCon. First and
Exciting.
foremost, are we gonna talk about it? Are we gonna talk about it?
Which one?
All right, so it took 2 years of convincing Ashley, but
Oh, stop.
he has decided to marry me in GovCon.
You're
We have joined forces. Capture with proposal writing. We have our own GovConHacks package to
Yeah,
say
so what she means is we launched our first official sort of service collaboration to provide sort of the front end and the back end support for government contracting. So if you're tired of juggling the pipeline management, the proposal prep, the technical writing, the management, all of that stuff, we're here to support you and give you kind of that end to end assistance. So really excited about that. And we are going to give away some savings to this new service in our newsletter. Newsletter is going to be dropping before the end of this month. I usually do around mid-month. I'm a little bit late this month. But we're offering some savings on this service if you'd like to come on board and get some assistance and support to scale in 2025. I had someone ask us earlier, is it too late to capitalize on the Q4? And where in most cases, I might have said it depends. This year, it's a hard no. It's not too late.
Yep.
Certainly not. All right. So back to the topic. Why do processes even matter? Like a lot of folks will think, I'm getting along just fine. I don't need SOPs. I know my system. I know my process. Why does that even matter? Every single week we see it, whether you're solo, whether you have a small team, you're spending your time reacting to the fire, that just started over here instead of executing. So whatever that reaction is or whatever that issue is, it's pulling you away from what you need to be doing. So that could be missed bid deadlines because the pipeline's a mess or there isn't one, even worse. Your narratives are all saved in random places instead of a searchable repository. Your subcontractors are not properly vetted or tracked, so maybe they lost their certification 6 months ago, and now that you have an audit you're facing on your subcontracting plan, you're like, oh, I didn't know. Endless emails back and forth. I'm sure you can speak to that. Don't you love managing a proposal over email?
No, because I have like 6,000 emails and all of your past performance is getting lost in it. But I get it. I get it. We are all wearing multiple hats. But
Yes.
the reality is, and I learned this the hard way, and I'm still learning it and building and changing my SOPs because of it, is that the reality is every hour spent fixing preventable issues is literally an hour that I am not growing my business. I'm not focusing on what I'm good at, which is sales. So you can't scale chaos, I'll tell you that much.
No, you can't. It's the myth that a process means more work or more complexity is just that. It's a myth because if I do it once, I'm sorry. If I do it once, it's just a task, right? The
Yes.
second time I do it, I know I'm probably going to be doing it a third time.
Mhm.
That's now a process. So structure is what gives you the freedom to take a step back and focus on the bigger work, the bigger picture. All of those things that have been on your backlog to do to work on your business instead of in your business can now come to the forefront.
Right. Well, I will say this. We should not forget that if you have that "I'll do it myself" mindset, I am no stranger to.
I'm
It
no stranger to it either.
it feels faster in the moment. Don't get me twisted. It feels faster in the moment. It's like, "Oh, if you can't get it done, I'll just do it myself," right? We do it all the time. I do it all the time. But long term, it burns you out. You become the bottleneck in your business. You don't grow. Nobody else learns. Nobody else stays. How do you ever grow if you stay in that mindset? So you have to pivot and you have to change it.
Yes, agreed. And it's no secret. So when you're super small, like if you're a one person shop, you're a super small team. Spreadsheets, look, they are, I get it, they're free.
Yeah.
They'll carry you to an extent. But when you get that first contract and you've plateaued, or maybe you're second and you've plateaued and you're trying to scale, a system is is going to be what gets you to that next, because there's something obviously broken. If you've plateaued, um, and you haven't been tracking things like debriefing results, anything, just it creates more chaos. You don't know where your focus lives anymore, and you become super distracted.
Right. But I also think that clarity doesn't mean like $1 million ERP system.
No,
Um, it
no.
means having repeatable workflows, like a process. And I know as a small business owner, my processes are in my head. But I also know that that's why I'm the bottleneck. So you need clear roles. You need to have tools that, really do take the guesswork out of what do I do next. Um, I would say a simple checklist. Monday has been my saving grace, and it's not $1 million ERP system, but there goes my cringe sales pitch on Monday. Um, they're all talking about how cringy I can be when I say all
I
that.
mean, I don't sell things that I don't believe in, right? So
Agreed.
that's one of the
Agreed.
reasons that I became a Monday partner and that I do talk about it a lot, is because I live it. This is our lives.
Yeah.
So when you find something that you can customize, no two clients are alike, for example. So, and one client will, I'm not mentioning any names, and this was a while ago, but they were chasing down narratives. And this is just one example across 6 different folders. All of their resumes lived in the folder that was submitted for a proposal that they were being
Mhm.
contacted from. It was sheer chaos. Nothing was searchable. We helped them kind of centralize the content, built like a searchable database, a review workflow, and literally shaved 2 full days off of every proposal prep,
That's
just from being able to like take an inventory. What do I already have? What do I need? That was definitely a huge lift and burden off their shoulders. So if you're a small team, that time counts. So
Yeah.
that's just one example.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you that when you've got, like, these pieces in place, you're no longer the bottleneck, and your team can execute without waiting for you to answer every little question. I'll give you an example. I hired my first EA today. Now, listen, I have tons of employees, but this one requires me to transmit all the information that's in my head to her.
It has been super fun. Can I
It
say
has
that?
been it's been a trip. Because I had to sit down with myself and say, "What do I do all day?" I know I do a lot because I'm always in front of this laptop, but what do I do all day? Where can I save time? And so I had to really sit down and do a checklist of all the things, the minuscule tools, like all the tasks that I do that could be easily given away and done. And I was shocked because I have that mindset that I do it the best. When I gave it away, she did it quicker. I was greatly humbled. But that's what I mean. Like, and SOPs, when we talk about SOPs and standard operating procedures, I think Ashley and I came up with a really good concept to that solutioning is that I want to talk about how life changes a little bit where you used to write your standard operating procedure, but now we're like we're putting it on video on Loom so that you're showing
Yeah.
is, you're a visual learner.
We're sliding right into the next one on
Yeah.
that note, because that was one of the coolest things. I too, and I might have gone through this pain point a little earlier, Tasha, but I hired an assistant and everything has been in my head. Even still, some
Mm,
things live in my head. So it has taken every bit of every time I need to transfer that process or that knowledge to someone, I'm creating the SOP and I'm doing it right then and there. And I'm literally taking the time because if I do it once, I just have to review it every year, right? And then someone else I can delegate that task to. That has been monumental in scalability, but actually sitting down and doing it. And yeah, you can use the help of ChatGPT, right? But you don't want to depend on it to tell you the process. If you
Yeah.
don't know the process, your quality is going to be a little. Mm. So make sure that you're also using that as the co-pilot.
Right. So
You have to
start
use Loom.
documenting
Yeah, Loom. Natasha's recording her video,
that.
and
Hmm.
it's like $10 a month, 15 if you want the AI feature. It's super
Yeah.
cheap. And now they have a little button where you can quite literally turn that video that you just created into a process.
Yep.
And this is not a paid advertisement. I am not a Loom partner. It's
Nope.
just
But if they
really
want
cool.
us to be,
Yeah, hey, Loom doesn't have, I've tried. They don't have one. They don't have a partnership program, but yes, it's been monumental, and also are sharing videos between each other. You
yeah.
know, if I set up a new process and I want to quickly show her how it works, we can implement the same thing in her account. Here's a Loom video.
It mostly comes out of how do I?
I have this problem and it doesn't do this.
I'm like, what are we doing here? And she knows I'm a visual learner. It's quicker than reading an SOP. Let's be real. Most of us have ADHD. It's the reason why we're here. We're in GovCon and we're so smart and we're capable, right? But we can't concentrate on anything for longer than a minute. I blame TikTok for that. Essentially, the video helps because now I can go back and reference it. And so can my employees. They can go back, they can reference it. This is my how to guide. And having it in a repository. We take those videos, we download them, and we go ahead and we like to layer our tools. So we have Monday.com for our CRM to build our pipeline for proposal development. All my proposal writers have access to those opportunities, and it's automatic. If a client, we build the pipeline, it comes in from HireGov, it pulls into our pipeline. At that point in time, folks can approve or or no go an opportunity. Proposal writers get an update, and instantly they get to work without me even being part of the process. All I get is updated during our tag ups. So having that automation has allowed me to focus on other things. And, I love Monday just because it's customizable. But if you pair it with Zapier for automations and suddenly,
Is good too. It depends on what you're doing, which one I'd
yeah,
recommend. But for this
yeah,
workflow, absolutely, I love that.
and Slack. So I have a newfound love for Slack.
Yeah, I've got some
Communication.
workflows that like start up here and then they go
Yep,
down 3 steps and then there's an if and when scenario and then
yep,
so I nerd out and I set up those workflows. If you guys are trying to connect your bid system with your CRM or whatever, feel free
mhm,
to reach out. And I also will give you a free consult. Use our link to sign up. It is down below. You can see it right down there and schedule with me. We can talk about your workflow, talk about, what challenges you're facing in your proposal process or your capture process or what systems you're using, how they can communicate together. Because if you're still using spreadsheets, it's not talking to anything. It's not communicating with your calendar to tell you, hey, Q&As are due tomorrow. It's
mhm,
not sending an email out to your team, letting them know, hey, Q&A's answers were posted, time to get to work, time to make revisions on the offer, whatever the case might be. Deadlines are really tight fourth quarter, which is why we're bringing this up. Not really to beat a dead horse, but if your
yeah,
system is broken, you will fall behind this quarter. So,
yeah,
however it is that you want, whatever tool that you want to use, is definitely that's your business decision. But make sure that the tool works for you, not you working for the tool. That's the most important part.
ooh, that's a good one. I see that so often. I like that, yep. Well, let's kind of address the big horse in the room here. Overcoming your pushbacks. What do we tell ourselves when someone tells us, "Oh, well, you should standardize that process"?
And I know because I did it for like 3.5 years.
I don't have time. right? I don't have time. But think about how much time you're wasting by doing something that you can't push off or that you do differently every time
Right.
because you don't have a repeatable way. The repeatable way makes it faster and easier and better. You don't have to customize every single approach. You really don't. Um, I'm too small for a system. Nope, you're not. You're not thinking about the long term,
Right.
right? We're
Yeah.
not thinking you want to say I want $10 million contract, but you don't want to think about a $10 million operation? No. I can't afford tools. They're like $15 to $20 a month, especially if you're small and it's just one user.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are the bottlenecks that we see that we tell ourselves. But I don't think that we realize, and this I always say this, I am $150 an hour, right? If I'm spending my time working on these tasks, I'm losing money. I could be bringing in money, but no, I'm sitting here writing, doing this and sending that and making sure someone's doing this. I'm doing 10, 20, 30, $40 an hour tasks when I should be focused on the things that bring me the most value to my business, which is growth. So,
Right. And proposal management. Let's not forget. And the truth is, 95% of us that don't have systems are already paying for the chaos in one form or another.
yep.
It's whether it's time, missed bids, stress, the stress of just, if you're a solopreneur, I know you're stressed. I'm talking to you. You are stressed. That is not necessarily worth it.
Mhm.
And what I've learned just from personal experience is, now that I'm spending the time working on the business rather than in the business, and I have some things streamlined, when I
Mhm.
have a free moment, I'm working on the next one.
Right.
Because if I can just capture 10 minutes back on that process in what, 6 times of doing it, that's an hour. That's
Right.
$150. So start thinking about your time in terms of dollars, and you might think again about not being able to afford something else, because if your time expense on that task, it costs more than the tool, you absolutely can afford it, and it's probably going to save you.
Right. And if tools feel overwhelming, as many in many cases they do, especially if it's a new tool that you've never utilized, start small. One checklist, one workspace, one dashboard, one documented process, right? Like just start small and then nip at it little bit and little bit, and you'll see how much changes over time. You'll get more comfortable with it, and you'll find that you feel confident enough to do more.
Absolutely, because even just a small system or a free account on
Mhm.
a system, to something to get yourself started, can pay for itself in the first contract so that you don't lose this organization. And with that, have some homework for you if you're willing to do it, right?
Yep.
Because it was not until I started practicing what I preach about processes, because I never had
Mhm.
those problems before. Um, but I also realized that if I once I captured back some of my time, all the things I could have and should have been doing. So just pick one. Pick one recurring task or recurring process and document it step by step. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it out of your head and onto a Google Doc or a Word doc, a free doc. Just out
Yep.
of your head onto a doc.
And while you're at it, audit your workflows. While you are what's draining your time? Just sit down, do what I did. Sit down,
Yes,
check,
right.
figure out what is draining your time. What could be automated or sourced out, right?
Absolutely. And hey, we love to hear back from you. I'm not really on Instagram all that much, but share your progress with us here in the comments, or on LinkedIn. Would love to feature, like, if you did this homework, you have a process that you're proud of, and you're willing to have it featured, let's talk about it. I have tons of them, and I could probably yak you because I'm a super nerd when it comes to automation. Like, if it can be automated, I'm going to automate it.
Yes, and tag us because I want to hear about your success. Not just that, I want to hear about like how it worked out. Like, oh, Damn, Tasha, I realized I just saved off like half a day of tasks that I was doing. I know I did. I have so much more time for myself.
I
Sorry.
know. She was like asking me about creating reels and stuff. And I'm like, what are you even doing that for? She's like, well, I just had time. And I was like, no, create your SOP. She's like, oh yeah. Let me go give that to Laura
Now you
May.
know what teaches me about my processes.
But even, I mean, even the most experienced of us, because I'm guilty of it. Somebody
Mhm.
will, I'll give them a task, and your first trigger to know that you didn't do a good job on that SOP or on that explanation is when they have a gazillion questions, right?
Yes. Oh my
We
god.
give a task, we think it's going to be easy, we delegate, and then you get so frustrated at the questions, you're just like, "Oh, I'm just going to do it myself. Go ahead and work on something else. Let me just do it myself." That's my own worst enemy in that respect. So that was sort of the trigger that made me go back and look, and it was like, okay, even what you have isn't explanatory enough because we're in an industry where more detail is often required. The why is required in addition to the how.
I am learning that myself, explaining myself the why, the strategic solutioning behind every executable task and decision I make has to be explained. And as many people know, I don't have a lot of patience. So I get a little snippy,
You have more
but
than you give yourself credit for.
I am
Who
working on it.
says that? I
So
don't
I
buy.
have to explain myself in a more clear manner and be conscientious of that. So just, it's a process, obviously, but it is one that comes with many rewards. At first, I am very like I can be very emotional sometimes. So if I look at like something and someone's taking too long to do something and I wanted it, if I would have done it, I would have done it immediately. I have to give people grace. My husband tells me this all the time. Not everyone's like you, Tosh. And I have to practice that every day, that not everyone is like, some people process and do things on their own and learn in their own way. Um, and having those SOPs to it finalized where I don't have to repeat myself over and over has actually saved me time and grace and patience because now I have something that I can send out to others and everyone uniformly is doing the same process. So I don't have to repeat myself or teach something different or do it over and repeat myself over and over again. As I grow, that really helps. And I never thought I'd be here, but once it hit like 5, 6, 7, 8 employees, you realize you say the same thing over and over again a lot. So having that video, having that SOP, having those processes, it saves a lot of time, a lot of patience, and allows you to do the things that you want to do in your business. And why
And
you start?
forbid, God forbid you spend 7 months training your protege and you have to turn around and start all over again. That
Mhm.
gets exhausting the first few times.
Yeah, a lot of people.
So
Mhm.
that SOP, I mean, keep in mind,
Yeah.
structure creates freedom.
Yep.
Our businesses are not going to raise themselves, and it takes a village, right? Well,
Yeah.
it's going to be all up to you and all on your shoulders unless you execute. And every one of my SOPs, the training videos at the top.
And
So
you
you
don't
can watch
have to
the
do it
training video,
overnight.
you can follow the instructions, however
Mhm.
it is that you're going to learn. And what also that does, and this is more to your point, Natasha, for you,
Mhm.
your SOPs are setting a timeline. So
Yeah.
you know that that deliverable will be received within 1 to 3 days. So you can stop harassing everyone about it,
I do harass. So yes, but it helps. So yes, find the systems that speak to you. If you are going to marry the system, you're going to be with the system, you're going to implement all of your stuff into the system. You want it to work for you. Don't use the coolest one that everyone talks about. Find one that
okay? You, yeah.
works for you and your company, right? Um, and ultimately, I think that will help you be better going forward into the next season of GovCon.
Right? Just a few while we're waiting on any questions that you guys might have, please drop them in the comments. If
Mhm.
you're using tools and systems that you really like, please let us know. We would love to hear about them. We
Yep.
do have a couple. Hey there, AV Network guy. No questions yet?
Get it.
I do want to make sure that
Marry the system.
not marry- why not? I'm definitely going to marry the system if I'm going to spend all this time building it. It's my baby.
I'm ready.
So remember, our newsletter is going to drop soon. So don't forget about that. Subscribe on the homepage of GovConHacks.com. We are going to drop a special discount for you guys, just subscribers, in our newsletter that's going to be coming out within the next week on the new capture and proposal solution that we have created. And if it hits home today, share this episode with a fellow contractor, a friend, a colleague that it might make sense for, whether or not they're in government contracting. Because let's face it, business is business and time is money.
Amen. And see you next week, where we're going to be talking about planning and delivering winning oral presentations. Because let's be real, all of y'all use ChatGPT. Now the government's like, there's no way everyone's an expert. Now you got to come in the oral presentation and start talking about your solution to the government. So we're going to teach you how to handle oral presentations, how to create your slide deck, and sell on your phase 2 of your proposal.
Yes, we are. So we look forward to having you guys back. Subscribe, tap the bell for notifications so you're notified when we go live. That will be 2 weeks from now. So we will see you then, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Bye.